And the storms follow an intense heat wave which affected most of Europe. Experts saying that climate change will increase the frequency of extreme weather events. The increasing temperatures over the summer have led to intense drought, one that experts suggest is the worst in the past 500 years. According to the researchers at the European Drought Observators, the current drought is expected to affect 47% of Europe. Moisture content in the soil is expected to be in deficit. Another 17% of Europe could see its vegetation under stress due to lack of water. Farmers in France have already turned to tap water to feed their livestock after streams have been running dry. Farmers in Spain had to sacrifice their crops and trees. Firefighters are fighting raging and ever-increasing forest fires. Water levels in the River Rhine hit zero near the Dutch border. Factories may have to throttle production or halt it completely, as current water levels make it difficult to transport cargo. And with me on the broadcast this minute is Jos Timmerman, live from the Netherlands. Jos, thank you for being here. He's a senior climate and water expert at Waterframes. If you can start off by giving us a better sense of the drought situation in the Netherlands and the measures being undertaken by the authorities at this point.
Yeah, okay. So thank you for having me on the show. The situation in the Netherlands is that it's almost as dry as the year 1976 when we had a real dry year, but 2018 was the second, and now I guess we are on the third one. And so basically, what is now the measures taken is that farmers are not longer allowed to irrigate their lands, and that's the major measure that's taken so far. But we also see that there's a lot of problems with transport, with shipping, because the water level is so low that ships can only take less than half of what they usually can take. And that's, for instance, also a problem for Germany, because a lot of the products for Germany come through the harbor of Rotterdam and go through the Rhine up to Germany, which is a problem now there. We also see that there's maybe a problem with the energy situation, because the temperature of the water becomes so high that energy productions are no longer able to use the water for cooling, because they will also heat up the surface water, and that's not allowed according to the law. So there's a lot of issues going on at the moment in Europe and in the Netherlands.
Right, and speaking of which, and looking at the extreme weather events that Europe is grappling with, how could the continent have prepared better, according to you?
That's a difficult question. One of the things, of course, is to start with mitigation measures to prevent the situation from arising. So, for instance, last year we had this huge flooding in the south of the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium, which was a combination of well, actually the rainstorm that was there stayed in the same area for a long time, which is not normal, which is a reason caused by a reduction of the high speed circulation that's around, say, the North Pole, and we see that. Well, this is something that climate change is causing. For adaptation measures, there's several things we can think of. For instance, in the Netherlands, we started quite some time ago already with the Room for the River program, in which we allow the river to take more room if the water rises. And so flooding situations will not appear so quickly, but that's for the larger rivers and not for the smaller rivers in which the problem last year occurred. And so, yeah, like the storm that was now in France, this is something climate change is causing. This was expected. More heavy rains, more heavy storms, also more drought, and a combination. And one of the things also is that when the soil dries out, the water uptake of the soil moisture doesn't work too good, and there's a lot of runoff on the surface, and the water is not easily going into the ground, and that causes flooding downstream. So there's, yeah. So, well, if you talk about measures, what is important is that the soil is better protected. There's a need for other agricultural practices to reduce the reduction of organic matter in the soil. Well, what I mentioned already, the room for the river idea, to give enough room, give enough space to rivers, so if there's a high water situation, that they can spread out in a larger area, which is not always possible when you have a steep slope, but still there are ways to well, you can do buildings that are in a place that are not so prone to floods, and those measures can be taken and are taken, but not enough.
Indeed. Jos, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for being here on the broadcast.
Okay, thank you.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.